15-hour drive home yesterday, and I'm just a little.
I'll be right back.
I'd like to call the City of Osage Beach regular planning and zoning meeting to order, October 8th. Pledge of allegiance first. Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Chad Carlson.
Here.
Tony Stewart.
Here.
Mayor Robinson.
Here.
Alden Osteen.
Here.
Susan Emily.
Here.
Angie Schuster. Here. Chad Kautz.
Here.
Alan Blair.
Here.
And Bill Mackey.
Do we have any comments or questions on the minutes from the August 13th meeting? If not, I would entertain a motion.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. I'm not going to go over what the planning and zoning's job is tonight to save time. We'll start with new business, which is special use permit case 414 for a request by MCM Development LLC for a recommendation to approve a special use permit to allow a mixed residential development on a property zoned C1. Carrie?
Yes, ma'am. Chairman Ebling, members of the commission. So tonight what we have, and we'll go over the ideologies behind the difference between a special use permit and a rezoning, just so you all will understand. But most of you, or some of you will remember, back in 2020, we took a pretty hard look and made some pretty substantial changes to our residential code. Specifically the R3 zone, allowing some more flexibility as it pertains to single-family homes that are allowed in the R3 zone. Back at that point, if you remember, what we allowed was large lot along with every other type of use within the R3 zone. So in an attempt to put in something that is more valuable in the multifamily zone, we brought the lot sizes down to 3,250 to 5,000 square feet and made the homes smaller. So even if we used R3 zoned property for single family, we got higher density out of it. And the reason we wanted to do that is because we have so little R3 property within the community. If we're going to use some of it for single family, we wanted to make sure that the community got the value that we needed, because our need for housing is so substantial at this point. So this request is to do mixed use residential on a commercial zone, okay? 35 acres on property. Probably the easiest way to explain it is the property located behind the old Mexicali Blues and CED electric building at the edge of town. And you might ask, well, why are we doing a special use permit instead of a rezoning? And I'll tell you why we're doing that, okay? This is something that I recommend to every property owner who's wanting to do a residential use on a piece of property that is currently zoned commercial. And here's the reason why. One, our code gives us the option to do that. So one thing you won't find is the ability to get a special use permit to do commercial use in a residential zone, okay? But the ideology behind this is we can go in and we can regulate on a piece of commercial property without doing a complete rezoning, just in case the residential use turns out to be a poor use of the property by way of cost to develop, okay? So what this ends up allowing us to do is we do the special use permit and we do the development regulations pertaining to all of the requirements that are established in the R3 zone. That includes lot sizes, uses, setbacks, everything that you can imagine as far as development. But if once the owner gets in, hires their team goes in, does their diligence, they find out that they can't develop this property into residential and any money be made, then what the city is able to do is it remains commercial property and then can be used for commercial uses after that point. Now, What we're able to do with the special use permit to have some control is, you saw the proviso that I put in the special use permit that says once they start development of residential housing or structures, there can be no commercial development. And if they do anything in there that is commercial, then the SUP is null and void, and they would have to come back for an amended SUP to put any residential in there at all. So the basics of it is we're establishing all of the requirements for the R3 zone with the special use permit, but we give it the flexibility that once the diligence begins, and if they find out that the residential aspect of what they're wanting to do won't work, it gives both the developer and the city the flexibility for it to remain commercial property, okay? In this particular situation, we don't have a specific site development plan that shows us everything that they're going to do because we're going to control that with the R3 zone, but it will come back to the Planning Commission and the board by way of the major subdivision process where they will bring back all the lot layout, all the street layout, water, sewer, and all of the public infrastructure plans that goes along with the major subdivision procedure that we have, okay? So we will see this again either way. And at that point is when we will actually see what the development is done, and that development that they will bring us will be required to meet the R3 zone, okay? And that is what I recommended that this group do. I've been talking with this group for about a year, okay? And their ideologies have changed substantially in that year. Started out with, you know, a group of buildings that could be anything from a duplex attached home to 8 of them. And then they got with some realtors, and the realtors were like, this is a pretty bad idea, let's look at something else. So what they came to us with was that the majority of this development, they plan to be single family. But at this point, we want to have some more density with that single family. Now, I'm gonna say this, and I want this to be very clear, okay? I am not calling this low-income housing, okay? That is not what we're saying. But they're not getting any federal money, they're not getting anything like that, but the ability to have smaller lots and then be smaller homes will put them in a price point that is not something that we have currently, okay? So these are not low-income housing. These are not going to be housing that you have to meet any requirements to get in. You will be able to purchase one. But the hope is that with the changes that we made, allowing more density and maybe a little bit smaller homes on smaller lots, they'll be at a lesser price point than what we typically see in Osage Beach, which will make them more affordable, hopefully, and help us, you know, address our need for more roofs in our community. So that is the reason that we have done this. This completely is done as per my recommendation to the property owner. We bring it to you tonight and recommend approval of this request.
So can I just ask a question so in my head it's clear? They can do, whatever, 50, I'm just throwing a number out, single-family homes, and they might be able to do 10 duplexes.
And 4 apartment buildings
And 4 apartment buildings, or
10
whatever.
units apiece, yes.
Okay.
That's why the R3 zone allows you to do everything from single family to multifamily,
Okay.
which is, they don't know 100%. We don't know until they get in there with, you know, and start their engineering, exactly what, you know, they're going to be able to do. You know, the quick and dirty proposal that they showed me was about 80% single family, and then they had 6 multifamily right back behind Mexicali Blues building and the CED building.
Yep.
On a flatter area.
Yep.
But you know as well as I do, if they get in there and the single family houses are selling like crazy, they could make the entire development single family, or vice versa. If they're not going as great and we get more demand for apartment or duplex, triplex type of development, this gives them the ability to do that as well. And we'll see all those things in the plating process.
Thank you.
Are there any caps on, like, could they make the whole thing apartment buildings with 10 units each? Or could they make the whole thing single family?
Yeah, yes, they could do either of those. The cap would be the density requirements for the R3 zone, which would be 1 to 2,500 square foot for apartments, And then 1 unit to 3,250 square feet for anything less than apartments. So if you got duplexes, you're gonna have a 7,000 square foot building with, or 6,500 square foot lot with 3,250 square feet per unit on those, okay? So there definitely is a cap. It's all handled by density and the density requirements and minimum lot sizes within the zone, which is something that I would, handle by way of that plat before it gets to you all. I will make sure that all of those requirements are met.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Clearly, there's no applicant or representative here, so I won't ask if anybody wants to speak.
I do have one question.
Yeah.
Does MCM Development have any history or track record with development in the lake area? Or is this the first time, hey, we've got some land, let's build some houses?
Well, the MCM, the majority owners are the owners of Black and White Roofing.
Okay.
So they've been here for some time, done a lot of construction in the area, so they're very familiar with
Okay.
everything that we've got going on, so. And they know a good roofer, so.
All right, that's all.
Do you have any comments, Cole?
Legal approved.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from anybody? If not, I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve?
We have a second? Second. We have a motion and a second. Do you want to you want a roll call vote? Yeah. Okay.
Commissioner Mackey?
Aye.
Yeah.
Yes.
Helen Blair?
Yes.
Angie Schuster?
Yes.
Chairman Headley?
Yes.
Alderman Osteen?
Yes.
Mayor Harmison?
Yes.
Tony Stewart?
Yes.
Chad Carlson?
Yes.
And Bill Morgan? Oh, Chad Cows. Holy cow. Hi, Chad.
Yes, approved. She's not calling you a cow.
She might be.
Well, we'll talk later.
Okay, so none opposed, motion passes. Any other comments, reports, anything we need to know before I adjourn?
Well, obviously, we've got a lot going on. This is going to be as busy a fall as you'll ever see in our community. Obviously, the amount of development that we're going to see over the next 6 to 8 months, while it might not come to us, is going to be very prevalent to all of you. The Oasis is just getting good and started. I'm sure you saw the slingshot go up on the point. Well, the rest of the rides will begin going up in the next month or so. You will see pieces and parts of roller coasters and Ferris wheels staged around this side of the bridge in a couple of different locations. And then we also recently just received the plans for the hotel, which I can't go too in depth on, but it is pretty impressive. And then other than that, we will start seeing people move into the apartments on Nichols Road in November, I believe, which is exciting for our community because we can sure use the housing and anything and everything else. And then, of course, depending on what happens in November, development at the lake will really explode in 2025. So we'll keep an eye out on that. I don't know of anything that will bring us back together next month, but you can certainly keep an eye on the Board of Alderman meetings. This particular request will go to the board meeting, first meeting in November, so the first Thursday in November. And that's all I have.
Okay. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.